What's good, beautiful people? Season 2, episode 3, back in the hosting chair, D-Man spot. But before I go any further, this episode is sponsored by Crew Cosmetics, Crew Hair Care. Our man Dave the Barber 1. Follow him on Instagram at Dave the Barber 1. Also, you can find the products at a King's Barbershop located at Furnace Branch Road. What's the direct address, Jones? No, you know the address.
7339.
73.
Look at that. Now we support black business on the Unbiased Podcast.
As you know, in the building as usual, King Jones, Made 5K, Shab DiBiase. And we got a special guest today. You can know him, if you're from Annapolis, you might know him as Smitty. If you don't, our man Darren Smith, college graduate of Howard University, historically black college university. Master's degree from University of Conneticut. I don't think that should be slept on at all. That's major. Not too many people go to UNC. University of Connecticut.
I used to root for Khalid Al-Amin. It's a fact.
And but I would say
we're gonna skip over how you fucked up the whole you called them UNC.
Niggas
He called them niggas Tar Heel, man.
Niggas make mistakes. Either way, world traveler. But the latest title added to this man is author. 30 for 30. Writers Behind the Wall, a tale at Jennifer Road Correctional Center. I'm all fucked up.
Detention Center.
Yeah,
You're excited. You're excited.
Yeah, we got that shit back.
You getting excited? You have a flashback of when you did your time. So it's excitement.
I spent time. I got a fucking DUI when I was living in North Carolina. I was there for 5-6 months. Got pulled over. I spent 24 hours in the dorm correctional facility. Real niggas I met in there. Shout out to all the homies. Hope they free. Anybody else did time on the set before we get into Smith?
I think he did about 17 hours up in Marlboro.
Is that a jail?
Yeah, it's Prince Williams County Detention Center.
Okay.
I got locked up on campus at Bowie State. Fucking with that marijuana, man.
Made your record clean?
I'm clean as a whistle, man.
What about you?
Knock on wood.
I did about 30,000 hours.
But on a serious note, my man wrote a book detailing his time behind the walls at Jennifer Road. So Smitty, before I get into any direct questions, can you tell us what inspired the book?
Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me on the show.
Definitely welcome.
Big fan. You know what I'm saying? Definitely enjoy what y'all doing. I wrote it just because it was something, and I explained to people I wrote it because it was an experience that I've never had before, never thought that I would have. It was so far removed and just so unlike my day-to-day life that I was like, man, I just need to document this. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote it just to, for one, just to keep my mind occupied while I was in there. And just to put it out to the world, just show people like what I was doing with the time that I was in there, just what I did, who I spoke to, what I read, stories I heard, and just documenting the experience, because I feel like a lot of these experiences aren't documented. People, rightfully so, people want to just forget that time that they did in there. Right. You know what I'm saying? But for me, like I said, I just wanted to have a record of it because it's something that I have never intended, a place that I never intended on being there, and a place that I don't plan on being there ever again in my life.
So that's a very interesting component, just to jump right into it, I guess. Just kind of listening to that introduction, that might throw people off. You hear all these things: college graduate, master's degree, world traveler, and then to juxtapose that. Another one for you, mate. To juxtapose that with doing a bid, writing a book from someone in the perspective of someone incarcerated.
Right.
Without giving too much of the book away, can you kind of give a little bit of the backstory, how you even found yourself in that position?
Yeah, so it was funny. I was with my dog right here. we were coming from a birthday party. One of our other mutual friends had a birthday party.
I was in attendance.
I forgot Buddy was there as well. So I was on my way home. I was at my house, and I was crossing over to get into my neighborhood, crossing over to Route 3 for people who aren't familiar with that area. It's like Crofton. So it's I lived in a development called Crofton Village. I was crossing over to Route 3 to get into my neighborhood, and then the cop came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't have my lights on. I was in a rental car. I wasn't used to driving a car. Didn't have my lights on because I'm just used to having automatic lights or whatever. So he pulled me over, made me do the test, which I thought I did pretty well on.
Most people do.
Right.
So he gave you a breathalyzer or
that's
a field test?
He made me do the field sobriety test. And unfortunately, I've done that before, so I know, you know what I'm saying, I know how that goes. And then, you know what I mean, he gave me the breathalyzer. I didn't deny it to, you know what I'm saying, to say I didn't want to take it, but I took the breathalyzer and it was all she wrote from there, you know what I'm saying? And luckily he didn't impound my car because it was a rental car. He was like, well, you know, I'm just leave the car on the side of the road and, you know, we gotta take you in. And, you know, that's where the whole process started. So this was, I want to say, March of 2018. And then so for the next year, I was just going back and forth to court. My court dates would get postponed, get pushed back for whatever reason. And then once I realized that, you know, one of my court dates, they was like, you know, we'll cap out with him at 14 days. He won't have to do any more than 14 days in jail, but we have to take him right now. And I wasn't prepared to do that. Like I hadn't talked to my job. I hadn't made, like, you know, arrangements for why I would be gone or whatever.
So you got thrown straight into it.
Huh?
You got thrown straight into it.
I was going to.
Okay.
But then my lawyer got that pushed back so I can have time to like get my ducks in order. Right, you know what I'm saying? So I finally went in March of 2019. It was like March, I want to say 16th to April 16th of 2019. I got sentenced to 60 days, but I only ended up doing 30. And I did a little less because once I found out, as soon as I got in there, one of the guards, he was like, I can tell, you're not really a troublemaker, you stay to yourself. He was like, I would recommend you trying to get a job while you're in here, so that it'll decrease your time even more. So I was like, bet, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever I gotta do. So I was talking to the lady who coordinates that in the jail. I was talking to her every day, like, look, what could I do I need to get put on? I don't care what it is, if it decreases my time, you know what I'm saying, I'll do it. And they finally hooked me up with like a little job. And she was trying to figure out if it would even be worth it because I had so little time that it may not even take any time off of my sentence. But once they calculated it and they figured out I could get out like a week and a half, 2 weeks early, I was like, bet, you know what I'm saying? Sign me up. So,
gotcha.
See, I had like a trusty position, like, you know, cleaning toilets and sweeping and mopping and just cleaning like the common area and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? It was, for all intents and purposes, I tell people it was really the most important job I had because my freedom is on the line. You know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. So yeah, I mean, I did it, and you know, I got out like a week and a half early. I got out, I want to say April, 14th or 15th of, you know, the following month, 2019.
Before I throw it to one of them, I do have one quick follow-up question though, because it's an interesting component. Now, prior to this, had you ever been in any trouble before, any type of?
Yeah, I had a prior DUI, which is why. And I understand. I mean, I take full responsibility for that.
Okay.
Like they were at a point, I kind of forced them into a corner. Like the state, I kind of forced them into a corner. Like they had to show that, like,
shit serious.
Yeah, that this is like we can't play around with you anymore. We already gave you a chance with, you know, with your prior DUI, but now we have to show that, like, we're not like this. We're taking it serious.
Okay, exactly.
So I completely,
and that was actually my follow-up question because in my experience, I know another person I know that actually was incarcerated due to a DUI. Now he caught his in Virginia, so I thought that it must have been just because of, everybody knows Virginia has a little bit more stricter policies. But it seems to me that people who don't really have a history of trouble, as counterintuitive as it may sound, the court system, as backwards as it may seem, it seems like the court systems and everything, they go harder on people who don't have a criminal. Because when I got into a little bit of trouble, they told me, like, you know what, they're gonna make an example out of you so that you appreciate that and never come back before us again. Now, somebody who's like other people who might be getting locked up every other day, they might give them a little bit more leniency. As crazy as that seems.
I feel like my story was real similar to Smitty's because obviously I got one DUI, but I feel like I went to jail for the same reason. I couldn't find my license. I literally wasn't drunk. I passed it on the road. I was with a car full of North Carolina people who was drunk, but they didn't tell me where to go, so I didn't know where I was going. Swerving. Pulled me over, took me in. I had to sit there for over 24 hours. Ended up letting me out on my own record, and I was going home, and that was it. I was in court for over a year and a half just for them to suspend the jail time, give me just the 1,000 spent, and that was it. And I feel like just cause they could, and I was new to the city.
it's a lot more common than people, you know, that offense is a lot more common than people than people know. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a lot to go through to get it back.
It is.
People like
It
sleep.
is.
That's like one of the
Easiest
charges to get, but they put you through the fucking ringer.
You know what's crazy about it? Just all in all,
Shit, man, you had DUI too?
No, I ain't had no
I just wanna
DUI.
jump
No. But what's crazy is when he called me, basically he called me that night. I didn't answer, unfortunately. But when he told me like, yo, I got a DUI, I'm like, in my mind, that ain't shit. You straight. It ain't no big deal. Until, you know, because I'm used to being around people that's really doing jail time. Right. And there's nothing against him.
Oh, no,
but,
of course.
you know, people doing years, they 5-10 years in.
Facts.
You might not hear from them for a few seasons.
And that's
you know
another
what I mean?
thing. And that's I don't mean to cut you off. Once you finish your point, but that was another thing that I highlighted in the book as well. Like this was just a brief stint, and I don't want people to get this confused as if like I'm the end all be all when it comes to serving like jail time, prison sentences and stuff like that. This was I just wanted to document my experience. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. We all know people who've really done time.
Right.
And really, you know what I'm saying, had to like, you know, had to bear that.
Gotcha.
And what's crazy is I downplayed it when he initially told me, like, man, that shit ain't nothing. But as me and Smitty became closer over the years, I had to realize, like, bro, you worked your whole life to get to the point you at. And because of a DUI, you could have possibly lost your career,
everything.
lost your living arrangements. Like, I know he busted his ass to get where he at. You know what I mean?
Losing your license, it's like taking your freedom. It's like being free it's like being in jail while being free. You can't do nothing. You need people to take you places, and you got a schedule. You're grown up.
So that's the one thing that showed me, like, every issue is important to whoever's going through it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially him, man. I'm glad he virtually, it worked out the way it did, especially because I felt kind of responsible for, you know, I was with him that whole night. Literally, we just parted ways. So just for him to come back and write this book, and he called me while he was in jail, he said, bro, I'm writing. I'm like, man, write what? Raps? Thinking the nigga ready rap. I don't want no more raps. I'm tired of rap.
Stuff come out, you know how that goes.
I'm tired of rap. So I go over his house when he come out, he got this book, yo. No haircut, no nothing. Got this book. Man, what's in that book? I don't want to know.
Right.
But then he told me, you know, he documented his time. And, he called me a few times when he was incarcerated. Most of them was hilarious. But when Nipsey died, and he called me, and he just like, yo, this shit crazy. Like, and it's just the way, when he heard things out here, being back out only for 30 days, it still can be life-changing. Yeah. So I applaud him for writing this book, man.
Now, I know, Smitty, you touched on it a little bit in terms of like having those certain conversations with, like when you were preparing to write the book. Talk about that a little bit in terms of what went into the preparation and how you reached out to different people to kind of, I don't want to say get the blessing, but also to make sure that what you were writing was received by everyone from people who haven't been in that situation to people who have been in that situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was something that was really important to me. I didn't want people to think I was that my experience was overshadowing like a person who's people really like been in that position, really had to do time, you know what I'm saying? So it was funny, I reached out to Jones just to get his insight on what he thought about me doing this. And he told me, he was like, no, man, I think you should do it. I think it would be really dope if you did it. And don't let people belittle your time in there, because
what do you remember about that conversation, Jones? Did you have a second guess that advice, or from the beginning you just knew it was a good idea?
I thought it was a great idea because, you know, like, people always telling you like how you should feel about something, right? And the way something should impact you, but his 30 days, his 35 days, that's his life. Right? So if he want to write a book, by all means write a book. Yeah, they're all gonna be people be like, man, that nigga did them little ass days. People gonna, of course niggas gonna say that, because niggas will be niggas.
Right.
But they ain't, people like that ain't your target audience.
Right. Absolutely. And that's something that you also prepare. Like, I knew what I could potentially hear on the negative side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, from putting it out. But just like Jones said, that's not something that I was focused on. I'm not looking for nobody's blessing to put out a part of myself and share my story.
Right.
I'm gonna do it regardless.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I just wanted his insight, and just to see what his thought process was on it.
Proper research.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I had another question. I go with you.
Where can you find the book, man? I mean,
so you can,
it's on platforms,
right? You can find it. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, pretty much any ebook platform. You can go on whatever ebook platform you shop on, you buy your books from. You can get it from there as well. And it's been received well thus far. You know what I mean? Everybody, especially in this area, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from a lot of people. When anybody puts out anything and shares something of themselves, it's you're kind of hesitant to how it's gonna be reciprocated. Right. Anything, if you're a rapper, if you're a singer, whatever, when you're sharing something with yourself, when you're sharing something about yourself to the world, you're always kind of reluctant to do it.
Facts.
But once you get positive feedback, if one person gives you something positive about it, it gives you motivation to continue. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people in this area. A lot of people reached out to me. They had wrote an article about it in the paper. I've been on a few different podcasts.
Seen write-ups and seen it in places.
Absolutely. So it's I just wanted to literally turn a negative ass experience into something positive, and I'm just thankful for
blessings.
For the love that's been shown.
So I got a few more questions about the book before we go into your other endeavors. So one of the first things that I noticed about the book that I liked about it was the presentation. So was any direct motivation? It's like a double question. One of them is about being an author and what inspired to get there, but more so about the presentation of the book. Was obviously ESPN was 30 for 30, something that immediately sparked it, and also Lil Wayne, his journals that he did in jail. Were any of those connected to your the process?
So funny story, right? When I got out, the day that I got out, my girl she bought me 2 books. She bought me Jay Prince's book, The Art Science of Respect, and she bought me Lil Wayne's book.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? She bought me that.
It's time to write.
So absolutely. So so I read it. I was like, yo, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like that gave me more of a motivation to do it, and I did it kind of in that format, just pretty much just writing my thoughts and just keeping a journal of what I did. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that like the presentation of that book,
I love the presentation.
was is what inspired it as well. Shout out to Sel, to Carmen Sel Brown, because he did the
composition.
And that's how I wanted you to feel like you're reading a journal or a diary. So I wanted to present it in that fashion. Nah.
And I know I meant to mention it in your intro. I met you from our young days, from young AAU days to private school days. I know you're an athlete. I know playing sports something that meant a lot for you. So the 30-30 connection of the ESPN, I also thought was something dope I just wanted to point out. Absolutely. So before we move on to the book and go into other things you do, what is something that you would say to a young person that wants to write? A person, because now you're an author. That's on your title. Moving forward, you're an author, and I don't know if it's gonna be your last book or you have plans to write more books.
That was my part 2.
No part 2. But yeah, just what would you say to young authors out here that's looking for motivation to pick up the pen?
I would say not even if you're looking to be an author, but just people in general. Like, it's important that you get your stories out. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people think that they don't have anything of value to share because so many people have been, it's like with this book, for example. We all know people who've had to travel that road and done jail time, but that doesn't make my experience less impactful than theirs. So I would say it's extremely important to get your stories out because you never know who may hear it and who may gain some type of motivation or inspiration from it. When you do something, it kind of gives another person out there the permission to share their story and to go on and to put theirs out there into the world. So it's extremely important. Like I got a lady reached out to me on Instagram. I had no idea who she is. She told me that her she had a son. She said, and he went through the system. She said she just saw how it kind of like that wasn't her son no more. She saw that in him. You know what I mean? She was like, and this really inspired me. And I was like, please, like you need to share that. Like it's important that you share that.
That's one of those things. Like even outside of this particular experience, but just as people, but especially us as black men, it's very important that we express our emotions because getting your emotions out, talking to people when you feel a certain kind of that might ultimately
prevent you from absolutely, for sure.
So let's close book talk with one more question.
No, my questions are not.
All right, let's go for it.
Into this, I mean, I kind of wanted to segue because you brought up sports, and that's initially how I met him.
Right.
So I don't know. Did you play ball when you went to Howard?
Nah.
All right, so
I tore my ACL my senior year playing football.
At Severn.
Right. See, so all my questions are like because of that, right? Okay. So my first question, because like that adversity and the time trying to bounce back from your ACL, like how did you deal with that?
It was tough. That was one of the lowest moments in my life as well. This was a low moment, and that was a low moment, because I mean, like, I played sports and basketball specifically since I was little, 6-7 years old. So to get to a point where, you know, I had a few, I wasn't highly recruited or nothing like that, but I had a couple, you know, offers in college looking at me. So to tear my ACL at pretty much the prime of like my high school career, it was tough. It was really tough.
Your senior season?
Yeah, at the beginning of my senior season. I played football and basketball. I taught playing football. So yeah, it was extremely tough to deal with.
That's one of those injuries we hear about it so much towards ACL.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I mean, like, what does that restrict? Like, how?
Yeah, like, I mean, anything involving, like, if you play a sport, you gotta run, you have to cut, you gotta change directions quickly. You can't do that without.
The ACL goes up and down.
I think it's in the back, right?
No, it's in the front.
The ACL goes front.
Yeah, I think it goes up and down. Yeah.
Meniscus is all.
When that's torn, you can't cut, you can't change direction, you can't do the things that you need to do to be a good athlete. Yeah.
So
you know what I'm saying?
My follow-up question to that: you playing sports, playing ball your whole life, and then not being able to in college, how did you then take that focus and then put it into your studies?
Well, I mean, I'm very realistic, you know what I'm saying? So I knew I wasn't about to go and play basketball in college. Like, I was good, but I wasn't like one of the top athletes in the state or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? So college was always something that was an expectation, and where, you know, in my household, like, that was one thing my mother instilled in me, like, you know, regardless of what you get in your education. So that was always something I planned on doing, regardless of if basketball was there or not. That was always something that I was going to, you know, I was gonna make sure I got to college. You know what I mean? So I mean, without basketball, it kind of, you know, I would say it kind of shifted my focus more into, you know, into education. You know what I'm saying? Right. And to make sure that I gain a quality education and go out and, you know, be an impact into the world. You know,
and I think it's a blessing in your life, from just how you just said it, from the 30 for 30 going to jail, and with the sports thing happening your senior year. There's 2 times in your life things were snatched from you.
Yeah,
where you weren't prepared for it to be snatched from you, and it just made you adjust and count on your life. And I definitely got to bring you up for that.
You know, thank you, I appreciate that. But I mean, such is life. We all go through things, and we all have things that happen to us that are unexpected. Gotcha. I mean, what you gonna do? Are you gonna just, like, are you literally gonna stop living your life? Like, you have to continue to
pick up some pieces.
You have to. Like, there's no sitting around. And I tell people all the time, like, the world is not gonna feel sorry for you, regardless of whatever situation you in. You know what I mean? So you have to take it upon yourself to, you know, to continue progressing on. I'm not gonna allow this to define me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is a part of me, but it doesn't define who I am. You know,
world is your horse.
You know, the unique thing about you is, you know, you tore your ACL in high school, and then recently you got accepted into the Severn Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken.
No. It was Severn 40 under, like the top 40 under 40. Like, it was there.
I got some business shit.
Not like kind of like just honoring people who went to Severn who were like trailblazers in their field. Like, you know,
that's amazing for itself.
So yeah, that was a great honor. That was definitely a big honor.
That was amazing for itself. But you went Howard though, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about the HBC, the HU, man.
That was
life on Howard, man.
That was definitely one of the best decisions I ever made. Choosing to go there. And one thing I tell people about the experience that you get from an HBCU is unlike anything in the world, in my opinion, because you see people who look like you, dress like you, act like you, they have the same thought process as you, but they're all going out and doing something positive, you know what I'm saying, and trying to attain a top tier education so they can go out and be impacts in whatever field they're in, whether that be business, sports, entertainment, from all over the world. And it was, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see, you know what I'm saying? I tell people also, like, I feel like one of my cousins told me this. She said that I feel like every black person should have a black experience, whether that be through whether that be through the church that you attend, whether that be through school that you go to, whether that be through
catch the culture somewhere.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's important because you should at least at one point in your life feel like the majority. You know what I'm saying? And throughout my entire life, I mean,
that's real.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Real.
You know what I mean? And throughout my entire life, I was, I'm always very cognizant of where I am and what I'm surrounding myself by. So, I see, it's just like when you walk, seriously, like when you walk into a classroom, like I know that there are a lot of people who look like me in the classroom. You know what I'm saying? I went to Severn School, like that's
I know
you know what I mean? I'm one of I graduated in class with only 85 people. Out of those 85 people, only 10 of them were black. So I know what it's like to.
I think it was 15 in our school.
Yeah, I know what it's like to go into a classroom. From elementary school through high school. I know what it's like to go in a classroom and you be the only one that's like you there. You know what I mean? Right. So I wanted to go to a place where that wasn't the case. You know what I'm saying? Where I wanted to go to a place where I was a majority. And people, like I said,
it's funny you say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like people being in a place where people look like you and talk like you, and dress like you, and understand your experience, the way you're coming from. That's very important.
I just want to say I genuinely appreciate that feedback, just because I know, and obviously I don't want to say any names and embarrass anyone, but I know people who, having had a similar experience, mind you, we grew up down, it's the weirdest thing, for some reason down Bywaters, elementary school, we went to Edgewater Elementary. Same concept, predominantly white. Right. So, mind you, having gone through Edgewater Elementary, Central Middle, South River High School, one of my friends, he started off his college experience, he was at UMES. Okay. After one semester, he transferred from UMES to Towson because of the quote-unquote unprofessionalism of the black experience. Things that come with administration. Right. So he actually gave his younger brother strict instructions not to go to HBCU. So I just want to say I appreciate
of course
the counter perspective of that. You know what I mean?
And to each his own, you know what I mean? But I just know what it did for me, what it meant for me to see that and to be a part of that and to bear witness to it. To me, it was, like I said, it was the best decision I ever made.
I got another question for both of you. So, and let me finish both of them before I get it all the way out. The first one is, going to Bowie and Howard, was it really ever any animosity between those two? Because those are for me, I went to West Virginia, obviously a white school, and then I went to Towson University, another predominantly white school. My only college experience was going to visit Jasmine and other people I had at Howard. And Bowie, so when y'all homecomings would come, that would be the it thing to do, go to Bowie State, go to Howard. So being this year, the double question is, was it ever really any animosity between those two HBCUs? And second, how did y'all feel with this year having no HBCU homecoming experience? That's a real thing around, not even just around here, any HBCU, everywhere.
I know it affect me because I normally like going too, so.
I hear the first thing.
I already knew it was coming.
So I mean, for me, as far it's always a running joke in HBCU circles. People, of course, people take pride in where they went to school. At, you know what I mean? It's kind of like if you have a little brother or a big brother, if you're a big brother and you pick with your little brother all the time, but no one else can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying that about any kind. I love all HBCUs. Right. I was never one of course I love the school that I went to, but at the same time I appreciate the experience that each HBCU provides. You know what I'm saying? Because think about the people that come from there. And when you know you're of that stock, you stand up straight. It's a sense of pride. You know what I'm saying?
It's like graduating from a sorority or fraternity.
Absolutely.
It's
important, right? It instills that sense of pride in you. So for me, I love all HBCUs. Of course, I love mine. You know what I'm saying? But I love the experience that all of them provide.
Gotcha.
For me, it's funny because again, very much like he said, I never felt like, to answer your initial question, though, I never felt like Bowie and Howard had any type of animosity towards each other. I feel like, obviously, you had the whole rivalry between Howard and Hampton, who's the real HBCU, and then Bowie, kind of like Bowie, Morgan, just because on some local proximity-wise. But to his point, I never really looked at it like competition. Like, for instance, I never even applied to go to Howard on the simple fact that I appreciate, you know what I mean, as crazy as people might think I am, or I'm this big extrovert or outgoing person, which I am to some degree. At the same time, I don't really like big crowds, or I like to be more in control. So a place like
Bowie provided that.
Yeah, that was a safe haven for me to be on campus at Bowie, not having as many outside influences. Not having as much competition to get to the joints, you know what I mean? Like, let's just be real.
Because Howard's looked at as larger than life.
Niggas like Biggie said, catch me at Howard Homecoming, I'm fucking something, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's the thing.
When choosing in college, the third thing he just said, I ain't got no competition for the joints.
I'm gonna be honest though, for a person like
there was less, there was still competition.
We're looking at the college application, like, man, where am I going to get my
I'm gonna get my rocks on. No comp. Hey.
That enrollment 5,000. That enrollment I-15. That's too many. That's three.
What you had
You know what's great about that? Like, I didn't go college. I wish I had the experience. Some people said it's a luxury. Some people don't think so. But I think as I got older, and a lot of those shows, them black shows that I liked when I was younger,
Cosby's Different World,
all HBCU gear all through them shows, like Martin, Morgan State, Howard, and Marlon Wayans, and it just showed that our culture always been around.
Shout out to HBCU appreciation.
I got one more follow-up with that too, since we're talking about athletics and everything. Smitty, now you got a unique experience having had both the HBCU experience and the big time, I mean, don't get much bigger than UConn.
Right.
So now, speaking specifically of athleticism, what do you see? What do you think about what Deion Sanders is doing at Jackson State, trying to dial more?
Oh, I love it.
Got all the sons down there.
That's amazing.
Let's be real.
Staff is all NFL
He's the
players.
perfect person for that position. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I want dogs. That's what.
Do you think we could ever really put fear in the big time programs that, you know what, the top tier talent's not gonna go there, so you gotta
it'll take a generation.
Yeah, I feel like it's a
start though.
It's gonna take a while.
What if Bronny go to an HBCU?
It's still a start. It's just one player still.
It'd be great.
You need Mikey Williams.
You need those right to kind of to shift the climate.
Because I'm gonna say this, you got people like Bronny and Mikey Williams in them that's gonna be straight regardless. They talent already speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
But other people that's on the borderline, and let's be real, most of these D1 colleges pay. They pay.
In some way, shape, or form.
Like, so it's to a certain extent, it's just like your position, my position. I'm Braun's son. I can go anywhere and be fine. You gotta really take care of the family. I don't know if Jackson State could provide certain things that
I feel like in due time, if it's 50 top players, it's going to take 10 to 15 every year for it to change.
It's going to take that change is going to take a while, but I mean at the same time you have to start.
One thing I can say about these kids now, they control everything way more.
This would be the generation that
and especially with all the stuff going on in the cultural world, the world in general, the way black people is uniting. Mikey Williams just said, he said it. I don't know. He's like, maybe
it's time.
It's time
for some change. At least I'm considering. The consideration is strong enough. It's strong enough. It's hard to beat the Kentuckys, but UNC's.
But once again, you need a trailblazer like Deion Sanders. Prime time.
If you need somebody, we just was talking about yesterday. We looked at who was talking about Brandon Ingram, Zion, and Jason
Kyrie. We talking about all of them.
All these niggas so talented, but don't really know how to play team basketball. So what did they really learn from that experience of going to that was Coach K, bro.
They learned how to play like a pro.
They
get by off the athleticism. They don't really got.
But 18, 19, you still learning your game.
But I also think
I get what you're saying.
And talking sports, I also think a lot of that stuff is what the media tell you need to do to get to where you need to be.
Right?
You feel me? Not too many.
Of course, that pressure is abundant. It's always there. You know what I'm saying? But just like you said, like it's going to take a couple of them to do it, and then more players will follow suit after.
Cause like Cam brother don't he go Howard?
Yeah.
Cam brother goes Howard.
I think people like the Kentuckys and shit.
Oh yeah, of course.
They say like back in the day, I don't know if they still do the membership back in the day, like Kentucky, like they basketball players, like they had their own dorm. They didn't sleep in dorms like the rest of the school. Right. Like they dorms and shit had like McDonald's and shit inside. Right. So, like, yeah, how you gonna compete with that?
It's hard, that's what I'm saying. But it gotta also be those people that don't need that to feel as though we want to make change.
And they also have to realize that what the purpose, that it's a bigger purpose by shifting the narrative and going to HBCU.
Absolutely.
It's more than just, choosing the school. Right. It's choosing a culture and putting that before the decision of going to a big time school with Duke or Kentucky.
But you also see like a vice president coming from an HBCU for that more people feel like
she did go to Howard. Right.
So more people made this feel like vice president elect. So more people that might be an influence on some people.
Well, no, and it needs to be.
Right. It should be. And that's where, and I'm sorry, that's where representation comes in. You know how many little black girls see that and what that does to them. You know what I'm saying? Like when they see themselves in her. And that's why representation is important, because you see yourself when in these spaces. You know what I'm saying? So
and they put Misty Copeland on the cover of a magazine and all that type of stuff.
So I noticed the one thing you said about HBCU that stood out to me was cultural and experiences.
Right.
And for you to go to an HBCU in Howard and learn those, incorporated them into your personal life with all your travels recently, man. I want you to speak about what made you become that world traveler.
The book say world traveler, so where in the world have you been?
You sound like you're selling bricks. This
nigga made that he from the island, but they from Solomon
Island. So if anybody's been following my story, whatever, the past couple years, I made it a goal of mine to see all 7 wonders of the world.
Oh wow!
8 if you include the pyramids of Egypt.
Right.
That's an honorary member of the wonders of the world. I did that because I know when I didn't come from a traveling family. You know what I'm saying? Just like all of us, all of us come from humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So when I got to college, right, and I saw my friends, they would go. They would be on spring break in DR and Puerto Rico. That was foreign to me. Because I had never been anywhere.
Right. Pun intended, by the way. Go ahead.
So when I got to grad school, right? And the lady, there are people who invest a lot of time and pour a lot into you. This lady white lady named Dr. Humphries, Nancy Humphries. She was my internship supervisor or whatever.
Shout out to Nancy.
Yeah, rest in peace, Dr. Humphries as well.
Rest in peace.
But she had a class where if you took the class and you passed the class, the whole class, and she paid for it. Everybody went to Armenia. Cause she was, I got my master's in social work. She was instrumental in establishing the profession of social work in Armenia, where the Kardashians is from. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, shit, I gotta do this. This is a chance for me to see the world for free. You know what I mean? So I have to,
absolutely.
Right, you know what I mean?
Bag she was getting to. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're right, absolutely. But yeah, so I took the class, passed the class, whatever, and that was my first experience going to Armenia.
That's dope.
That was my first experience traveling outside of the country, and that was incredible experience. So then a few years later, I have a cousin, my cousin. I have a cousin, Tiffany Smith. She's been an avid traveler. She's been an avid traveler. But she grew up in a military family. You know what I'm saying? So she moved around a lot when she was young. And we had the same birthday, same day, same year, everything. So one of our birthdays in 2016, she was like, "You want to go to Colombia for our birthday?" And I was like, "What you mean, the country Colombia?" She was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "All right, well, yeah, let's do it."
Right.
And I give her credit for this, because just during that process of us going and watching her move and try and how to pack a bag and how to maneuver through air. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, she doesn't even realize that I learned a lot from just watching her.
Right.
So when we came back from that trip, I was like, yo, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I said, all right, that's gonna be my goal. If I'm a traveler, I want to travel with a purpose. So I was like, my goal is gonna be to see all 7 wonders of the world. And that's when, I started off. I just went on that journey. So I went to Mexico first to see the Chichen Itza. I went to Brazil to see the Christ the Redeemer statue.
Y'all Google this while he's saying all this.
I I went to Machu Picchu in Peru to see that.
That picture was fire. And let me not to cut him off. On his Instagram, every place he went, he had this shit on.
Yeah, for sure.
Everywhere, it's like
take the culture with you.
It's
everywhere.
It's important. Lucky Lefty, 468. Yeah, went to Machu Picchu. Went to Egypt to see the pyramids. I went to
one of my favorites.
What you do while you was in Egypt? Iron Bounce was in Egypt. Where else you went?
Oh yeah, I went to Petra. I went to the Petra Temple as well in Jordan. I went to see that. That's another one. That's another wonder. Went to China,
the Great Wall,
to see
right?
the Great Wall. Went to India to see the Taj Mahal. Went to Italy to see the Roman Colosseum, and I think that's it. Yeah. So, and I did it within like a 2 year, from 2016 to the end of 2018. So that was like,
that's dope.
Yeah, to hit all of them.
So I got a direct question to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because before I even ask my question, it's kids from around here who don't even think it's possible to go to the National Mall in DC. It's kids from Gardens 20, Eastport that's never even seen historical museums and things that's in Baltimore, DC. Mm-hmm. And even just from a regular person just heard what you just said, everything you just said sounds not even possible.
Yeah,
it sounds like an arm and a leg.
Right,
so how can that be done for somebody that just looks at them like, man, you must make bank. There's no way you can do this without, I was eating a passport.
Or the nigga sell bricks.
Right.
But what's the stuff? Like, what could you tell somebody that wants to do these type of things?
I felt the same way. Like traveling to me, it was unfathomable to me. You know what I'm saying? But I would say it's all in what you want to do. Okay. Like it's all in what you find important. So we all have the things that that we spend our money on. Some people spend their money on shoes, clothes. Some people spend their money to go out, restaurants or whatever. So I mean, that's what I decided I wanted to invest in. I wouldn't even call it luxury because I mean I'm traveling by myself, so I'm doing it as efficient as I can.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? But it's the experience is what's important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what experiences make you rich. Like not money.
So that's the luxury, the experience.
You know what I'm saying? Like the experience, like your experiences are what make you rich and make you who you are. You know what I'm saying? So that's something.
I haven't seen those places. Do you have even? What's next? What else do you desire to see? It's almost like
look, the world is small, but it's big at the same time. It's so much to see and so much to do. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see as much of it as I can. Like I want to have those stories. I want to be able to tell, my grandchildren where I went and the things that I've done and those experiences. Those, like I said, in us, and it's important that they see us in these places as well, because a lot of people don't get a chance to, like literally, a lot of people don't get a chance to see black people other than on TV. Like, all right, look, no bullshit. This like when I went to Armenia, we didn't get there until probably about 4 or 5 in the morning. We were staying at like a university guest house, right? So we get into our rooms or whatever. I turn the TV on. Literally, the first thing I see was a 2 Chainz video on like. So if this is, and no knock against no rappers, no entertainers, or nothing, but if this is the representation that they're seeing of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that say? Like, this is where they formulate these opinions about black people, particularly black men, from what they see on TV. The last night that we were in Armenia, right? Because we have people, like we have Armenian students who were hosting us, so they were showing us around the city, whatever. We were at dinner, and one of the Armenian students, he was like, Darren, he didn't say it outright, but I knew what he was trying to get out. He didn't have the words. He was like, Darren, you're not like what and I just said thank you because I know exactly. I'm not like what he's thought. What he's saying.
What I expect from you guys. And I have 2 questions, but go ahead, Shay.
No, I'm just saying, just to follow that point up. One thing I hear a lot, and it kind of only because I've never been, but I have relatives that have lived and done political work in Africa. It's the same concept. So how many times have you heard people say, "Oh, Africans don't even like American black people"?
Right.
It's not that. It's what you just said. They don't understand American black people.
Perception of us.
Because their only perception is what's coming from the media.
Exactly.
Go ahead, man. You want to go first?
No, I was just saying, just how he said, like, he travel a lot. We know you gotta kind of. In order to travel, you gotta kind of align yourself with people that share the same view of travel.
Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
It's been times he was in Greece and FaceTime me like, yo, and I'm at home in my room like, nah, I'm ready to start planning my next trip. So I might call him from Costa Rica.
Right.
So it gotta be like that. And just traveling is not just out the country. In this United States, yo, it's so many places, so many experiences.
Absolutely.
And it's big. When you say the world is big, the nation is big.
Right. And I'll even
I've
go
been
as
to
far.
Canada once.
I'll
Yeah,
even go
Western
as far as to say, like, you know, traveling expanded my view on the world, right?
Right.
But your world can be big without traveling. Read a newspaper, read books, like those things. Like I know people who that is puzzling to me that people don't like read, and that's something that us as adults should be doing more of. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you expand your world.
Information right in front of you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So you don't have to necessarily have to travel outside of the country, man. Just like I said, read the newspaper, look at the news.
Mind.
Like those things are just as important.
Talk to people who you wouldn't ordinarily talk to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
Before we move on to other talk about get into some 2021 expectations, 2020 and the year and stuff, I got two questions because what I got from you being on the show today is culture, experience, and going through things from seeing things from your perspective, then applying it to your life. So, two people in recent news, even three honestly, because I forgot her name. I don't want to disrespect her because I know you said she passed. The teacher that helped you, put you on the world track.
Dr. Humphries.
So Dr. Humphries. And then I want your take on two people who recently have came in and helped, I guess you could say, black culture, and they're getting a lot of people who are talking down on them. I forgot the man's name, but he is the head coach at St. Francis High School that did the documentary Cost of Winning. He pays for all of those kids to go to that school. He pays for their housing, similar from the experience when you asked about HBCU in Connecticut. And then the young lady, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, who gave $40 million to Morgan, $40 million to Howard, and I hear a total of $4.4 billion. So what would you say to people who look at us from different countries and say, oh, that's what I think of black people? Or black people that have a certain look of white people, and then it's this different opportunity to show us helping each other, and all of that coming together. Because I feel like your experiences on private school, this and that. You did jail time? Black guy from the hood or from the south shady side. You saw the world. People don't expect people to help people that don't look like them. So what do you get from those experiences and those two people?
And that's the thing. Like, I've had people who, you know, opposite races who've like poured into me, that have invested their
we talking from Severn or before?
From Severn. Okay. From all the way back to elementary school to, you know, like when people, good people, when they see something good in someone else, they want to invest time. You know what I'm saying? But it's due to, I always say this all the time. People want to help other people, but they want to help people who they see are trying to help themselves.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't just think that people are supposed to just give of themselves if they don't see that you're not trying. You know what I'm saying? That's first and foremost. So people saw that things that I want to do, and they invest themselves in me. You know what I'm saying? Because they know the payoff of and the payoff of you investing in a person is their success.
That gratification.
That's what you want to see. You want to see a person succeed. You know what I'm saying? I know I do. And I think the people who've done that for me, that's what they wanted to see.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And as far as to your question with with the people investing in HBCU, anytime when a person uses their privilege to level the playing field, how can you be upset at that? You know what I'm saying? I know people get backlash, what do you this is what we ask white people to do. You know what I'm saying? Use your privilege to level the playing field. You know what I'm saying? And when you see that, like I said, I don't see how a person could be upset at that.
And the people that is upset is the people that don't want the playing field level.
And this another thing, even speaking upon that, whenever white folks speak out or help, they would never, no matter what they do, we cannot hold that you would never understand what it is to be black over their head. Like, that's why they're helping. They need understanding. They need to understand, to comprehend what we've been through. So maybe they can't, there's no way a white person could be a black person. And go through what we went through, but at least they can help. And at least sit down and understand and have a conversation. So, for Bezos' wife to bank off him, then come and spend with us, man. I think that's an amazing.
She done gave out $4.4 billion this year alone.
Absolutely.
Alone.
And that's not even
companies, not even just the colleges. Different type of organizations that like feed. What's the different feed? Damn, I can't think of the name.
Kids with the flies in the face.
Oh man, you went too far.
But yeah, pretty much anybody in need of help. But no, Smitty. Anybody else had anything for him? I think that was a lot of great information.
I got a question though, man.
Yeah.
I know you love music.
Yeah.
I know you love hip hop. What is your favorite album of the year? What is you bumping?
Oh man, Freddie Gibbs' album, Alfredo.
Shout out to Alfredo.
You know, that's on replay. I feel like
See, I fuck the nigga because
Man, talk, you fan.
well, that Benny's project.
One of my favorites.
Benny's project.
Listen to Legend every day.
Jay Elect. I love Jay Elect's story. Jay Electronica's story.
Nobody saw the album.
What he represents. Exactly. And it's crazy. I mean, people been waiting for his album for so long. So it's only right that he drops an album during
3
this time.
songs.
You know what I'm saying?
8 features.
But look, man, to me that album was
You
incredible.
ain't even talking
You know
about
what
your
I'm
mans?
Who?
Nasir Jones?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean that that goes without saying. Nas is my favorite. Well, him and Jay are my favorite, are my top. You know.
So now we gotta give it to you. We gotta put you on the hot seat. I mean, you on Unbiased Podcast. So King's Disease or the written testimonies. Which one?
Both of them nominated for Grammy Album of the Year. Who gets the win?
That's tough. I don't know.
Will Jay-Z undercut Nas again?
Yeah, I honestly might say Jay Elect. That's just me. That's me.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jay-Z beats Nas again.
Because of what he's saying, and his stories. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm infatuated with it.
Hot seat. Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez.
Man,
No, we need you to sell some of these Unbiased Podcasts.
We need you here, baby. We need you.
all I know is this. I don't know about cancel, none of that. If you pulled out your weapon to fire at that girl, anybody, that's just some sucker shit at the end of the day, period. I don't got nothing to do with nobody canceling nobody, you know what I'm saying? But I just know that was a bad move.
Who won the verses? E40 or Too Short?
I didn't watch the whole thing. Man, we were just talking before this. Like, I know what they.
Fucking hilarious.
It's funny because he don't even know that
Smitty don't even know that none of these assholes cancel. Shout out to the Babe. Shout out to Too Short, 40, Water,
I'm not
all
gonna
that.
sit here and say that I know all of their songs but I know what they represent. Right. I know what
Bay Area
represents to the culture. Absolutely.
Real question. What was your favorite verses of the year? Like if you had to pick, I'm gonna say a top 3 verses. What would you say?
From the ones you watch, I would have to be watching.
Of course, Gucci and Jeezy. Yeah. What that meant, you know what I'm saying? Because people didn't even think they'd be able to be in the same room together. So that was crazy to me. I'm
gonna say my favorite was Snoop and X.
No, I ain't gonna.
That was amazing.
That was my favorite to watch. I enjoyed it the whole night.
That was my shit.
My favorite one was the Lil Jon T-Pain joint.
Early days.
I could legit see that being like the niggas could go on tour together. That bitch was crazy.
I take it back. My favorite, Teddy Riley and Babyface.
Oh, that was the most opposite funniest joint. You know what?
Babyface's style.
I enjoyed one of the ones from the beginning. Who Sean Garrett went up with?
Oh, that was a
that was
right after Neo and Jonte.
That was Jonte put some respect on his name.
Can we actually all give a round of applause to Snoop Dogg? I mean, Swiss Beats and Timberland for verses. I think that was the most entertaining thing.
So can Just Blaze get some of this? Because really, Swiss and Just Blaze really did the.
That was the initial. That was the initial 4 or 5 years.
Manny Fresh got body though. But Fresh got body.
That was a top 3 worst.
Joe Scott
and Manny Fresh was one of the top 3 worst.
But I'm gonna say this.
Scott Storch and Manny Fresh, it was like pointless.
Timberland
wasn't a good matchup for me.
I told y'all niggas that Fresh couldn't fuck with him.
I didn't say fuck with him. I don't think it was a good matchup, period. They both
But I told y'all niggas, you picked Manny Fresh for the win.
Man, all Scott those days was
Trey Day. But let's be honest.
Joe Scott, greatest.
Alicia Keys and John Legend
one of my personal favorites.
I missed that one.
Kirk Franklin and that was fire.
Right after George Floyd, that was powerful. A lot of people missed that.
The World Boss, Vibes Cartel and
Actually, they deserve major props because they were the first people to come together. And that showed Swiss and Timberland formula.
Police came and everything. They still held it down.
They showed Swiss and Timberland formula.
The first one, they had to work the kinks out. It was just, it was a project that they was trying to. Once they figured out how to do it and put the production together.
Who had the most energy on verses? Was it Kiss with the dance? Was it Nelly and that bitch dancing to it shit like it was the best.
Nelly had a fucking Wi-Fi.
Who else? Between who?
You gotta give it up to Snoop.
Snoop is definitely number one.
And let me E40 energy was crazy.
Yeah, E40 too shows the most entertaining. In my opinion, all night long, you can tell they was friends. It's a different when it's a Monica Brandy energy, and then it's an energy that
Monica Brandy was legendary musically too.
No, musically it was, but it wasn't visually entertaining.
Oh, yeah, I don't got like
Gladys Knight in fucking Patti LaBelle is 70 and was visually more entertaining than them younger.
They said, come on, girls, I gotta work it out.
So I feel like, to me, it was some that was better for entertainment purposes than it was some that you obviously see in the room. Like, I think Keisha Cole and Ashanti will put on a good show.
But no, but real shit though, kind of, you mentioned, you shouted out Swiss and Timberland. What do y'all see as what this versus could grow into?
Tours. They said it already. They had talks after each one, and they said when the world opened up, tours is the first thing. And they keep bigging up these artists.
That would make Swiss and Timberland.
And you can start remastering your albums.
Right, and get the streams up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
the great thing about the verses. What song was Verses on by Jay? What album was it? Verses.
That was Magna Carta Holy Grail. Produced by Timberland
and Swiss Beats. That shit is. It was destined, bro.
Ross and Chains joint.
Old shit is better than your best shit. Some shit like that. That's one of them.
It could be.
I don't even think we scratched the surface of what Verses could be, because so many people looking for the Dre and Diddy or Wayne and Drake's, but Keisha and Ashanti, they meant a lot too. People like them, the Sean Garrett's, like, who would have known Sean Garrett wrote
No, Versus did exactly what they intended it to do, giving props to people that you see behind the scenes and artists that might have been big early 2000s, 90s, and it just slowed up for them. It happens. It's hard to sustain success for that period of time. Absolutely. But sticking on
15 minutes, boy.
So I think we can all agree
15 minutes.
that maybe one of the biggest things in music this year was Versus. And I think that's out something that we can hang our heads on. A lot of great music, a lot of great hours, a lot of great moments. So moving forward, 2020 obviously was a year filled with tragedy, filled with pandemic, filled with, I would think, opportunity, because a lot of people had idle time to do things and put life into a perspective. But I feel like we spoke on 2020 a lot. So moving forward, 2021, expectations, goals. I can start with you, Shab, I can start with Jones, I can start with Smitty, I can start with Nate. What are you looking forward to in 2021? From entertainment, from music, from your own life, from the world period? Will things open back up? Will we be able to go to a Versus show? What do you expect from 2021? Oh, if it's tickets sold, nigga, I'm mad. Best believe it. Mask up. What a Versus mask on? Happy as a bitch.
So no, as far as my expectations, like, I just want, more than anything, like, I miss people. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I miss being around people. I just miss being festive. I just want to be in, hear music, hear vibes. So whatever capacity that is, that's the thing I'm looking forward to most in 2021, is being able to be around people and not, like, be nervous or be awkward or motherfucker cough and you look like, I'm just over this shit. So
they got you.
Before Nate answer, do you in your heart of heart expect for things to open up in 2021? Just
getting the vaccine?
Oh no.
I'm gonna say we ain't got to go into that talk there, but
oh no, my brother. I don't fuck with the swag.
So maybe 2021 expectations. What you looking forward to?
I gotta admit, before I get to 2021, I think 2020 was really significant in our growth. Mm-hmm. Me personally, man, to not be in a room with people on a regular, but to talk more. My man brought a house. I haven't even been there yet. Talk to him a lot though, and it's just like, normally when you're not around people, your relationship can falter because people not used to speaking to people every day. But for me personally, I've been speaking to people more and really gaining insight and just trying to, keep my mental health under control and still figure out ways to grow. So 2020 was ample to my growth, fitness-wise, reading, back schooling or whatever. But 2021, man, I just want, truthfully, I just want some normalcy, any sense of normalcy. For people that's, get back to work, the unemployment, the health aspect, the kids get back in school. It's a real struggle for them.
Yeah.
No matter what we think, it's hard for these kids to sit on this computer and learn for 4 or 5 hours.
Every little kid I know put on some pounds over over COVID.
You take away no basketball, you take away all the activities. What do you do?
But I've
parents losing jobs, companies.
Right. But my personal outlook for 2020 is 2021 is to continue building my relationships with the people that I have been building relationships with. I think that's most important. At the end of the day, we're gonna all transition to the next life soon.
Gotcha.
So I just want to be as impactful as I can to the people around me. You know what I mean? Before my day comes. A lot of us take that for granted. you don't know that you're missed until you physically not here.
Right.
So
Smitty, you the guest on. You gotta go last. You go last.
Oh, him last?
Smitty going last.
So Jones, 2020, what you leaving in 2020? What you taking with you from 2020?
Hold on. This nigga Maze said you don't know that you missed until you physically not here. You still don't know.
I believe
You are missed.
I believe in afterlife. I believe you're around, man.
Absolutely.
On a personal level,
2020, what you leaving? What you taking with you? 2021 expectations.
All right, so 2021. I mean, it's gonna be me. I don't feel like the world fucked up, and I want the world to be open for people like with mental health, mental issues. My life really hasn't changed though. Like we spoke about like jail and stuff in this episode, but on the real talk, like spending years in jail, I'm able to adapt to everything in life. So this shit just not like.
I gotta challenge you though.
Hold up, but I do have.
Oh, all right. No, that's all. I hope you get that, cause I want you said like, you know, your life, you ain't gonna change or.
I'm saying my life, like the pandemic
hasn't affected
my life.
Oh, my bad.
How it affects
people
because I'm able to adapt. Like, I went 4 years of my life without having anything.
Right.
So it's
I went 24 hours. I feel his pain.
I can do this. My life has. I still do the same shit.
Right.
But even more so, like I got a tantalizing talk coming out Tuesday.
Okay, free promotion.
That I already shot, you know, on my Trader Kid shit. When I Trader Kid, you shoot the show like Friday, bring it up Tuesday. But in that, I speak on.
I was just telling somebody that the other day.
Yeah, like going about your goals, writing them down, going out and getting that. So I want to apply that same game. I want to apply that to my own life.
Gotcha.
That's the challenge.
Before I swing it to Smitty, I would just say for me, I'm an optimist. Y'all know me. I just felt like 2020 with all the sadness it was felt with, I found time to properly teach myself things that I never really put time into, financial literacy things, different things, spending time with my son who lives in a different state. It gave me more free time, idle time of not working as much. So just looking forward, you know, I just want to see 2021. I would love to see shows and shit open back up. In my heart of hearts, I don't see it happening. I think 2022 is when I think freedom of being to float around and being back in these places to open back up. So honestly, I'm just looking for more growth in 2021 for myself, for my podcast, for my friends, for myself. You know, personal time, like May said, with Growth Fitness and different things we jumped into this year. I hope to not make that just a thing we did out of boredom and free time. I like to see it something that we stay on top of and even make bigger, honestly. So I'll send it to Smith, man. 2020, what you leaving behind, what you taking with you? 2021 goals and expectations.
I'm gonna first just piggyback kind of off of what you said. It's definitely been a trying year, but I've never seen nothing like this. Like where people every other day, a person start a podcast, they start clothing lines,
Clubhouse, all this type of stuff.
You know what I mean? Just different things that people are jumping into and using their creativity, using their business acumen, things like that to make something on the side of what they already have, and that is amazing to me. So I mean, even y'all, you know what I'm saying? I just continue to do it and to keep going. You know, don't just let it. I mean, whenever this pandemic ends, don't stop the thing that you start. You know what I'm saying? Continue on, because you never know where it's gonna lead.
Consistency is key.
Absolutely. So I would say that first off. You know, I said 2020. It was tough, but it was good to me as well. I purchased my first home.
Congratulations.
Beautiful home too.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Who that nigga at the door again?
I was able to put this project out, and it's, I got a lot of positive feedback, and I'm extremely thankful for that. So yeah, just moving forward. I mean, just continuing on, just to build on top of the foundation that I'll relay for myself. Hopefully, getting into more bigger moves, like real estate, investing, things like that. I'm definitely gonna start, teaching myself more of that and invest into myself. You know what I'm saying? That's the best investment you'll ever make is in yourself. So learning new things, always forever being a student. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to learn something every single day. And I think that'll just, like I said, build on top of my foundation and make me a better version of myself. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Right.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off what you said and what Maze said, I feel like what I think all of us can agree on in 2020, what we got from it, is that it taught you how to live with yourself. More so than anything, your family, because everybody else complains, like you say, you see all these people doing their different brands and stuff. Oh, I ain't got the time to. If it's one thing you can say, if you're alive, 2020 get your ass time.
Yeah, more than enough time.
And everything.
To flesh things out.
Except for like traveling and other shit. But you still could have traveled, but it wasn't the same way. You got time. You better not walk out this year complaining about you didn't have fucking time. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I feel if you ain't used 2020 for self-evaluation, you really wasted.
Need to be evaluated.
365 days. And I'm not even saying like, no, you just, we had, like you said, we had enough time to sit down and be like, yo, I ain't doing shit with my life.
I gotta be the goal all the time, not just because.
Yeah, I'm saying this year.
But put more into perspective when it's right, you know, when a whole bunch of other shit is involved.
But also, you know, we can't overlook this. Just to make it is sometimes is a blessing.
So make it through this year is a blessing.
This has been a hard year on a lot of people, and people
give us our 600.
And people, you know, they react to things differently. You know what I'm saying? So something that I may be able to sustain somebody else, it may get to them differently. So if you're here and you're able to continue on, that's more than enough.
If you made it through 2020, give yourself a round of applause.
I ain't not going bullshit.
If you made it so far, by the time this come out, if you've seen this, you made it through 2020.
I know we had a conversation. This might have been a couple years ago. We had a conversation. We talk a lot about when we see people on social media when they post their problems and when they post, you know,
the crime pictures and shit.
I don't necessarily subscribe to that. That's not something that I do. But I know that we were talking and we were saying that, you know, sometimes that getting that out, that may help a person, or it may prevent them from doing something unthinkable.
They don't have a therapist, and they don't have nobody to talk to, so they go to
Facebook. Whatever you do in order to keep you sane and to keep you here, I'm for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the same reason I do positive messages every morning. I don't always be feeling positive every goddamn day, but I know it's people that DM me and tell me, yo, I needed this today.
That's helping.
And they tell me that's why I keep doing it.
Right, and you cannot overlook those things.
Facts.
So continue to do that.
Facts.
Because it means something.
And same to you through world travel and all that, man. Inspire people to see the world and live life. Someone submitted first time to the show, but I'm sure you've been a viewer of us before. Every time we finish up where you know how we give it up in final words. Chef, would you like to kick us off? Who you giving it up to? 2020, last episode. Final one. Who need to smell them flowers?
As we conclude this year, we just talked about how crazy the year was.
That was a classic finish.
No, I mean, cause this is the real. You know, I play around and joke around a lot, but this one was serious, and I especially like these last couple of days on the heels of the holidays, seeing I gotta give it to the young boy, man, Mo Lloyd, dog. Like I gotta.
Oh man.
As a 35-year-old man, I can honestly say that to see what this young boy is out here doing in the community, if you are not A, inspired and motivated to do more, and B, embarrassed that you haven't already done more, then again, I don't understand where your level of consciousness is. So I'm putting this out there as an open challenge. We've talked, not a challenge, but this is an open invitation because we've talked a lot about bringing Mo Lloyd on the show. He wants to come on the show, so now it's on video, baby. You got to come on. So I want to give my opportunity to shout out Mo Lloyd.
Shout out Mo.
He did big things this holiday season with his give back. But even outside of that, with the information that he's passing out there, that young boy,
22, 23?
22 years old.
I can't recall nobody our age doing that at 22, 23 years old, honestly. Just for me remembering, I can't think of nobody doing as much as I've seen him do, not even just with the bike giving out, all this year. Because before this year, I didn't even know him, to be honest with you.
He was a child, nigga. You shouldn't know him. Like, that's the thing. Like,
he don't have a child at 22.
Nigga, you're 32. I'm just saying, not that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
no,
generation.
Definitely shout out to him. Shout out to Mo Lloyd.
He elevated it to a big level.
Who you giving it up to, Mike G?
On the heels of Christmas, man, I gotta shout out my pops, man. He turned 60 on Christmas, man.
Happy birthday, Dukes.
And the unique thing about my pops is he started school before I was born, and then I was born, and my sisters was born, and he quit. But he graduated from college like 4 years ago.
Right.
And I just gotta congratulate him, man. It's real inspiration, man. I ain't gonna say me and him always had the best relationship, but as I gotten older, I started to hear and understand all the things he was trying to tell me over the years, man. So big 60 up to Maurice, man. I don't even know if I'm a genuine. Now we got the same name, but you switched the middle name. So I'm just a regular nigga. Yeah. So you know what I mean.
That's pointless, though.
it's real pointless. I think my mother did that on purpose.
Like a Coke Zero.
But shout out to him, man. Just bless for him to see 60, man. So
Smitty, gonna let you. He normally close it, and you the guest, so I'll let y'all two decide who go last. I'm gonna give it up to my aunts and my uncles, man. Michelle, Valerie, Dwayne, Mark, and my mom Pamela. First holidays without Granny, y'all mom.
My man Mark.
I seen it. I ain't gonna say I seen it weighing on y'all, but I can tell how weird it was to not have y'all mother around for y'all first holiday of y'all entire life.
Right.
And I just give it up for y'all to keep it strong. We celebrated Christmas through Zoom, Thanksgiving through Zoom.
Right.
That ain't normal. And I can see that all y'all wanted to be with each other, but we made it work the way we made it work. So shout out to y'all for y'all strength. R.I.P. Granny, Bash forever. And that's how I
R.I.P. Granny, man.
Sure. So I'm giving my flowers to my aunts and uncles, but it's really about Granny, man, the pillar of the family.
I'll go. I'll first give it up to anybody who supported me, who purchased the book, who gave me any type of feedback, positive or negative. This was something, like I said, it was something I planned on doing, but at the same time, you're always reluctant when you're sharing something about yourself. Something that's also kind of vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who took the time to read it and who supported it, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna give it up to my mother, and I'm gonna say that because as we get older, you start to see what your parents went through for to give you a good holiday or a good Christmas,
right.
Thanksgiving, and
life period.
Just life period. You see the trials and the tribulations and the sacrifices that they make on behalf of you. And as you get older, you kind of reflect and you see those things. And now that we're of age and I see my friends breaking their back for their children and give their children a great Christmas, you know what I'm saying, and the sacrifices that they make, it makes you more appreciative of what was done for you when you were younger, you know what I'm saying? So, shout out to moms, and shout out to, all the parents who did what they had to do to to see the smile on their kids' faces.
Shout out to mom.
Jones, how we give it up, and then Shab, you can kick off final words after Jones.
I don't really have anybody in particular, so I'm just gonna give it up to everybody. Anybody out here doing their thing, striving to be great. Nick the cameraman. Shout out to Nick. Anybody out here who doing their thing, trying to push forward. Make it. What's today? It's Sunday.
Today is Sunday.
Anybody
December 27th.
Yeah. Anybody trying to make their Sunday great and their Monday be better? Give it up to y'all.
Come on, man, with the words, man. Go ahead.
I'm a God, you niggas. Don't nobody put words together like that.
What's your last word?
We already had the slow talk.
What's your last words, man?
Hey, two things can be true.
Two things can be true from a Guardsman.
First of all, we established that Eastport had more front
Oh my God, man. Ain't nobody from Eastport up here, man. Let's keep moving.
We're not gonna have
I don't know.
most front kids.
20 got some rump.
Yeah,
stop.
I ain't for nobody from down 20. I ain't hold you.
We also giving it up to people with not the best education too. Come on, man. We just gave it up to everybody. Shane, final words, man. Everybody's smart.
But my final words, I want to say in honor of the book my man wrote. If you're gonna call yourself an avid reader, pick up a book. If you listen to audio books, that shit does not count. You are not an avid reader if you listen to audio books.
You're an avid listener.
You are an avid listener.
Fucking listener.
No, man, that was funny, man. My last word is
oh shit.
Recently, we lost some good people. My man Ace, man, Adrian, Johnson Jr. and Ronald Jones, man, Ooch, man. The crazy thing about life is you run into people. You might not even talk to them every day or be around them every day, but when you run into them, you felt their presence. And even with them not physically being here anymore, you still feel their presence from the love they've been getting, man. So
two really good dudes.
Yeah, shout out to their family, man, and shout out to each person, man. Strive to be as impactful as those people. So even when we not here, we still felt, man. So
facts.
Shout out to their families. Shout out to everybody who's lost somebody in family this year, man. I know it's rough for all of y'all. Prayers and blessings to everybody. So Smitty, final words, my brother.
Like I said, man, just thanks to everybody who supported my project. And
wait, can we find that again? Tell them one more time.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can just type in 30 for 30, it'll pop right up. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, ebook platforms if you do ebook. So yeah, please pick it up.
On social media.
Lucky Lefty on Instagram. You can follow anything that I'm doing, my travels, any projects that I'm involved in.
468, right? Lucky Lefty.
Lucky Lefty 468. Yeah, Lucky Lefty 468. And yeah, man, thank y'all for having me on.
That's one of the best episodes ever. Yeah, it's
true inspiration, man. Just
you know what I mean?
your story, man. What's up?
Thank you for having us on, man. Thank you for having me. Thanks for being here.
My last words as always. Be true to yourself. Stand true to yourself.
Nigga like Russell Simmons.
Thank you for coming out. God bless. Good night.
My final words before I get out of here. This episode is sponsored by Crew Cosmetics, Crew Hair Care, David Barber 1.
Shout out to Dave, man.
King's Barbershop, located Furnace Branch Road. My final words is, man, what you put in is what you get out, man. Love yourself, treat yourself. Let's be great.
Did we get birthday wishes? I mean, my birthday.
Oh, well, shit.
Smitty birthday this week.
Shout out to the Capricorns. May to celebrating the birthday, final day of the year. Smitty, what's your birthday?
Next Saturday, the 2nd, January.
So shout out to all the Capricorns who celebrating.
God willing.
Shout out to Bush, man. That was Capricorn.
Sad season just ended. So, Unbiased Podcast. This is a wrap for 2020.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
More life, more blessings. We'll see y'all in 2021.
Man.